What's up, people? Josh Froelich here, and tonight we're going to be building some PCC mags for your AR9. So I'm building a Taylor Freelance 50 round extension for you. I get questions often about how do you get these things to actually hold 50 rounds? Or how do you get them to run? Well, you don't mess with the extension. I can tell you that first and foremost. I get questions from guys and they go, hey, I just ground on the extension to make it work. And I get real nervous about that. You don't need to. The extension's good to go. I can promise you that. You don't have to mess with it. Just leave the extension alone. What you do need to mess with is the mag body. There's some tuning that needs to happen with the soft plastic. It's a Glock mag, 31 round capacity with a little 2 round extension on it from the factory, the OEM mag. Well, Glock didn't design this thing to run a 20 round or 30 round extension on the bottom of it. So when we do that to it, we need to tweak the Glock mag a little bit. No big deal. That's what we're going to work on tonight. I'm going to show you how to do it. So here's what you need for the job. You need a brand new Glock mag. Brand new Glock mag. Not a used one, a brand new Glock mag. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. You need a Goliath plus 20 or plus 30 extension kit. So you get your 50 or 60 round capacity. You need some fine grit sandpaper. I'm using 220. Use whatever you want, but it should be fine grit. We're not trying to take a bunch of material off here. We're tuning soft plastic. It's not heavy duty. So you don't need much to take the edge off, which is all we're going to be doing. Just taking the edge off. You need some Loctite, just a little bit. Wrench in order to put the back of the extension back on, and that is about it. So I'm no gunsmith. I'm not even handy. Like, you don't want me wrenching on anything. But putting an extension together, yeah, that's no big deal if you know how to do it. So I'm going to show you that tonight. All right, so first thing you do, you pop the bottom of that Glock mag off the mag. Take the little plus tube, chuck it. Take the spring, chuck it. All you need of the internals is the follower. You do need to save the follower. The follower is going to go on the spring that comes with the Goliath extension kit. And so save that. Set that aside. We're going to tune this in just a couple minutes. First thing we're going to tune, though, is we're going to tune this brand new Glock body. So 31 round mag. What you'll notice is inside of the mag body, you can see these sharp edges. Well, again, this was supposed to be the bottom of the mag before. Well, it's not now. Now it's the middle of the mag. So what we have to do is clean up the transition between where the mag meets the extension. Super simple. Take your fine grit sandpaper, just a little chunk of it, and we're just going to take the edge off. Just smooth it out. I'm not trying to bevel some big angle on this thing. If you do that, it's going to screw it up too. So just take the edge off all the way around in the corners, the whole 9 yards. Just go to work a little bit on it. Just clean it up. There will be a way that you can check if you did enough in a second. I'll show you. Just go all 4 sides. Run your finger through there, make sure it feels smooth. I still got a little bit of an edge here. Okay, that feels good. I've got my Goliath extension with the back plate off, and I'm just going to drop this into the grooves. You'll notice that the mag body sticks way into the extension. So Taylor Freelance did that on purpose. So if you just simply let the extension rely on that little lip at the bottom of the mag, and you drop it and there's a few rounds in it, the thing explodes. The old school style or the old technology of these extensions, that's how they did it. They just caught onto that bottom little lip and they would blow up. They rounds everywhere, spring flies. It's kind of embarrassing. I've seen it happen a lot. And they avoid that by simply seating the mag further into the extension so that the extension supports the mag, so even if you drop it fully loaded, it's not going to explode on you. It's not going to come apart on you. And it'll be good. You just pick it up and shoot. So anyway, I've got the mag in the grooves on the extension. Rubber mallet. You don't need it. You could elbow drop this thing. It's super soft. Got it in position. And now here's what I was talking about, double checking to see if you sanded enough. It's a 3-sided extension with a back plate. That's nice because now I can go in from this angle that's open, and I can just check those edges and see if they're still sharp or if it's smooth. Again, your follower And all the rounds that are down in this bottom section of the extension are going to be feeding up through that transition. And so if that transition has a seam or has an edge, it's going to catch. I got it. It's good. No problem. So I'm going to drop my back plate on. Again, the most important part about all of this process is the transition. And so when I'm putting the back plate on, I'm going to start at the transition, start to seat that, and then seat the rest of the extension. So that I know that if anything's off, even just a hair or fraction, it would be down below because I started at the top. Okay, so once you have the back plate on, there's really very little reason to open the back plate again, because I've got the bottom plate removes with a toolless little detent pin. And so unless you did your job wrong when it comes to tuning that little bit of the mag body, you don't need to open that back plate. So I'll throw just a little bit of blue Loctite in there. Not red Loctite, don't get crazy. We don't want this to be high heat. We're talking about a Glock mag, which is plastic. So I wouldn't want to hit this with a torch to loosen these up. So I just stick with blue, even though I'm probably never going to open this again. Because if I had to, at least I can. Get all these little Loctite in there. And then I'm going to start at the top. So almost like a scope, you know, when you're putting a scope in a scope mount, how you just want to get everything snug before you get crazy. Don't start wrenching on anything or actually putting any tension on anything until everything's in position and you know it's all lined up and you know you're not going to have any problems. So I do that with these extensions as well. Just a good general practice. So I start at the top. Again, most important part is that transition between the mag body and the extension. Remember when we were talking about using a new mag? Here's why. So a lot of you reload ammo, right? You reload your own ammo. You spray it down with one shot or case lube or whatever you do. Or maybe you're using powder that's slow burning and it doesn't burn all the way up in your AR9. And so it's blowing a bunch of that carbon back into your extensions, or into your mags, excuse me. And so you've been running that mag for 6 months, 9 months, and it's got this goo from your case lube or from carbon buildup or whatever. And now you just added 5 inches to the bottom of the mag and a big old long spring in there, and you expect it to feed nice and smooth. No, don't do that. I mean, you just invested good money in a great product. Let's use a fresh mag body that doesn't have that gunk and buildup in it, so that it'll actually work. Okay, so start fresh. Anytime you get a new extension, get a new mag body, and demote, if you must, your old mag body. In fact, typically annually, if I'm putting extensions to reuse, I'll put a new mag body on because of that carbon buildup. I run factory Federal ammo, but even still, the carbon buildup after cases and cases and cases and cases of ammo, well, I want new mag bodies. They're cheap. I think they're like, what are they, 20, 30 bucks? Just do it. Just get a new one. You want it to work. Okay, so we're just about wrapped up here. I'm just making sure I'm getting everything nice and snug. Again, working my way between the top all the way down to the bottom, with the top being priority to make sure that that transition is super smooth. Last one. Okay, I've run a brush through it. I've got some of that powder in there, maybe just a hair of Loctite. I want all that cleaned up and out of the inside of the mag. So get that brushed out. Now the next part that we're actually going to tune. So on the Glock follower, there is a sharp nose. So that the nose in the front of the follower is sharp. Like, you won't miss it. It's the only sharp part on the follower. Well, if you think about it, this is going up between the extension and the mag body, and that sharp nose can catch in that transition, right? So I'm going to take this same sandpaper and I'm going to round off and soften that point. Round it off, not soften it. I don't want it to catch at all. but I'm not going to get crazy. Again, I'm using super fine finishing sandpaper because I just have a finishing job to do on a soft plastic part. Okay, so I've removed the point on the end of it. Now also on the back, there's this fin looking thing that rides in the back side of the magazine. Well, usually it doesn't have any transition, so it's got a fairly flat edge. I want to bevel that just a little bit so that when it's going down and it goes across that transition, this doesn't get caught in that transition. So just put a little angle on it. Again, I'm just going to remove a tiny bit of material, not much, just putting an edge on it so that it goes between that transition nice and smooth. Good. Easy. Drop the follower onto the new spring. Spring, follower, into the magazine. Make sure that spring is pointed away from you. When you push this bad boy down into there, there's plenty of spring tension. And then the end plate slides on. You have to push the detent down all the way, and you've got yourself a completed mag. So in, I don't know, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it took, I just built a 50 round extension on a 31 round Glock mag. So I've got 50 round mag for my JP GMR 15. This will rock and roll in any of your AR9s or your Glock mag fed guns. And it's good to go. Pretty simple. Clean that follower up, front and back, and clean up that mag to extension transition, and you'll be good to go. Hope this helps. Now that I got the new facility, and I think decent lighting in here anyway, I'm going to be putting out more of these benchtop how-tos on simple stuff. Again, I'm no gunsmith, but if there's little stuff that I do that I think would help you, I'm going to be putting out some content on it. And if there's stuff you're looking for that you know that I probably do and you haven't figured out yet, let me know. And maybe I'll put a piece of content out on it. All right. Hope it helped.